episode 100 of our podcast. That's insane. Obviously, there are way more people here than normal. There's usually just 3 people.
Yeah, normally it was like this many.
But I have the max that I can have on StreamYard, so I actually got a notification saying there's someone trying to get into the studio, and it was Dylan. Dylan was trying to get in the studio.
That's funny.
Yeah, you guys all on time and stuff? What's going on?
Yeah. God forbid indie comics people are professional, huh?
Cool. So we could do little intros, and then we can get into whatever we're going to talk about. Yeah. So we'll start off with Dwayne, and then we'll go, down the line.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Dwayne Robinson Jr. I am the owner and artist of Animation Comics and Entertainment LLC from Brooklyn, New York, and I like long walks. And now I'm done.
Are we just going like?
Yeah. Just keep going from Dwayne on.
I'm Dylan.
There you go. That's a good intro.
It says, yeah, right there. All right, Sebastian, all you.
Hey, so I'm Sebastian Chow from London, UK. All-round comic creator, so I draw, I write, trying to learn to color as well and letter. And yeah, I've just self-published the one comic for now and looking to do some more. So that's me.
This is me. Hey, my name is Kyron Silva from Taurus Comics. I am a writer, artist, creator, publisher, I guess you could say. I also run my own podcast called the Four Tales Podcast.
What's up? I'm Chuck Pino, Bonfire Press. I'm a writer, editor, publisher, author.
I'm Joseph Lewis at Heresy Studios. I'm a writer and creator. We have a comic on Kickstarter right now. www.208tales.com.
I'm Ed from Shades of Vengeance /SUV Comics. I'm a writer. I guess I'm now a letterer officially as well. And I've published. Nope, it's that side. All of this stuff behind me. That's all stuff I've published. We also have an active Kickstarter right now. Empowered Volume 2.
Dope. I'm Dustin Burnell. I'm the owner of Ethereal Publications. We are a fairly large up-and-coming comic production company. And I'm super glad to be here to support my buddy Greg. So salutations.
Nice.
Cool. I didn't know everybody went through because I'm still trying to message people. Be like, wait, there's a link.
Missing one person.
Awesome.
Wait, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm here at the bottom. All right. I'm Arthur Belfield. I'm a writer, editor. I've been published by Antarctic Press, Second Sight Studios, Avid Comics, Diversity Comics. A lot of different publishers have been blessed with my name on them. I also host a YouTube channel called That Indie Comics Guy, and yeah, let's have fun.
Woo!
Awesome. Well, yeah, thanks everybody for coming. There's more people, elsewhere. But for now, yeah. Before we press record, we were talking about shipping and all that stuff. So we don't have to be all depressing.
That's incredibly boring, and we
Not live.
Nobody wants to.
Let's do your 100th episode on shipping.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah, shippings and logistics.
No.
So you take the comic and you place it into the package.
So I guess what is everybody's favorite process of creating a comic? We could just start, Dwayne, and then go all the way down to Dustin, I guess.
It's always harder when I get that question when you're the kind of the artist and the writer. It's a little complicated to answer, but for me, I enjoy having the idea and being able to draw it first, and then looking at that character. Okay, what is this character about? And starting to give it some more
protein, as I call it, to make it, more of a standout character. I just enjoy the whole process. Really, it's really hard for me to single out anything. But yeah.
Sweet.
I think in comics, especially for a writer, probably one of the best moments is when you get art back, because that's when it's about to be real. You know what I mean? Like, you can write, and we've all written shit that will never be seen by anybody, and you never know when you're writing something if that's the piece that's going to get out or what's going to happen with it. But as soon as that art comes in, the ball game has started, and you feel like you're getting on the field. So that's pretty spectacular part.
Agreed. Yeah, I was going to say, like, when we've sent out our writing to an artist and we're getting those first couple panels drawn up, is definitely awesome. I think, like, I still think, even though that part's amazing, my favorite part is getting the colors back, because, like, you can see it when it's like penciled and sketched, and then you see the inks and you're like, wow, it's really coming to life. But like the second it's colored, you're like, there it is, like that's what it's going to look like. And even though the letters like give it that fine polish, it's kind of like mastering a song that's already been mixed, right? Like you're getting it ready to be released. It is that like clean polish at the end, right? That's why you know whether it's, that's why lettering is one of those things, like if it's done really well, you don't notice it. It just blends in with the artwork. It's perfect. But like that coloring phase, that's, for me, that's the best. Shout out to February.
Do you write, Dylan?
I basically help Greg with the writing and editing of the comics. Yeah.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask is because I think like lettering is so huge for a lot of writers too, because then that's our part being, finally being shown, where we can look and go, yeah, that's the shit I did.
Yeah, that's why I say it's like, if it's done well, like art wise, it should kind of like blend in with this like perfect symphony of art you have in the background. And I'll admit, because like the very first comic that we ever actually printed and released, I did the lettering for it. You can tell. Like, so definitely the lettering is super, super important. But I think like excitement wise, that like one of our latest comics, there's an explosion on a building, and I'm like, wow, like he did really good, the artwork for that. And then all of a sudden we see it colored, and I'm like, okay, like yes, that's it right there. Like, so it's like each phase gets a little better and better, which is awesome. But I think the coloring's my favorite.
Actually, I'll be honest. I had a comic recently where, actually, it's not gone to colors yet, but the pencils came in and they were absolutely phenomenal. And then the inks came in, and I'm like, oh, that almost seemed to take away a little bit. So sometimes by defining better, you actually make the overall artwork standard a bit less impressive, I've found.
I think that's why I like when the colors come in, because that is the difference. Like the pencils look gorgeous, the inks you're kind of like, okay, I get like what you're trying to define, but then the colors make the inks make sense. I think that's probably why I like that ink, because I do agree. Like sometimes the pencils are like, whoa, like that's like incredible to see that sketched out, and then when it's like it's fine tuned to the inks, it's like it does feel like the details go away, but it's not really. It's just giving the colorist the palette that they need so that they can actually finish the masterpiece.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit on the opposite side. Like I like more of the inks, maybe because I'm not a colorist, but I always feel that when you put in the inks, it's a little bit more detailed, and then when you put in the color, it just takes it to a whole nother level. So it's like watching something more like in like 1080p, and then you get like the colors, and it just switches it to 4K. It just bumps it up to that really good definition. It really gives you a better understanding of what's going on with the world when you put in a splash of color. Because when I did my first comic, my Nightfall Michael's Awakening series, I started it out black and white because I wanted to kind of well, there's multiple reasons, but one of the reasons is because I'm not a colorist, but I wanted to show the world in a different way, to give you maybe more of an understanding of like maybe like a mundane, normal kind of life, and then something happens to the character, and then there's a splash of color. So sometimes I think you can play around with having inks and colors within the story.
Well, that's stylistically, right? When you go to do something like that, you plan that out. You know what I mean? That's like a type of thing that's, when you move into something like I have, all of our books are different. Like every IP we have is a different style. Like I never want people to look at one book and go, that's the same as the other IP that they put out. It's just a different story. The art's the same. You never want that. So that's a really cool concept of doing things like that. And I'm with you, Dwayne. I think my favorite thing, though, truthfully, when it comes to things, because I write a lot, like a ridiculous amount. And when the kids are in bed, the wife's asleep, I'm in the office, I got the radio going, I'm chilling. It's no light in the entire place. What's going on, Tim? No light in the entire place but the computer screen and, what we're working with. So I think it's that serenity and that peace that I enjoy about creation. You know what I mean? And I know Chuck knows what I'm talking about. It's that moment where it's just you and your creation. I think that's the most powerful moment because you bond with these characters. Like, if you remove them from a series or something, you feel that just like a fan would feel that. You know what I mean? It's a very emotional part of this project, and that's anybody's perspective. That's just mine. I like being there in it. If I'm going to write about a character, I have to put everything I've got into that character because if I'm going to give it to someone to read, they have to be as invested as I am about these characters. If they're not, there's no point in them reading it. You know what I mean? They can just pick it up, put it down. Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? But now if you give it all you've got and you know that you have, like fan art changed my world drastically. I had a guy reach out to me a year and a half ago and it was like, can I do something for the listener? Right? No, man, that's my favorite, that little bit of alone time to sit and write. But I got a piece of fan art for the listener and the guy was like, I don't know that I'm allowed to do this, but I would like to do this. And I was like, yeah, man, it's fan art. Do whatever you want. You're not trying to make a buck off it. And we got it. And it was just like sublime. You know what I mean? It didn't matter how good the art was or anything like that. That was the character that we had created.
It's
and
the fact that someone cares enough about what you've created in
absolutely.
order to,
to take their time, And I try to post them every now and then when we get them, but it's getting to the point where it's like, you don't want to ever be like, hey, look, this one's better than that one because it's all subjective, right? And it's a gift to you. It's a beautiful thing that people are doing. So we try to make sure that we show them as long as the artists are cool with it. About dinosaurs. Is that a play on BGD?
I think so.
Are we talking Babes Going Dinosaurs? We can talk Babes Going Dinosaurs at some point, but right now we're issue 100 of SeerNova, so we're excited.
Yeah, I think my favorite part actually is what Chuck said. It was like when you get the art because it's like Christmas morning and you're like, haha, Nintendo 64. But so
absolutely,
yeah, yeah, because the first time I ever did get it, I was like so excited that I didn't actually care that the artist messed a bunch of stuff up. And Dylan's like, oh, he messed a bunch of stuff up, and I'm like, I don't care. Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's hard to pick just one moment, but one thing I really like is when somebody actually reads the finished comic who is not on the creative team and actually says something to you about it. Like, I like when they say like, hey, I liked it, didn't like it, whatever. But I really like it when somebody has questions and they want to have a discussion about it, because to me that makes me think that there's something that's thought provoking about this. There's something that makes people think, and I really like that part.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things where people are willing to put the time into something you've created. It's sort of it's a similar thing to what was being said about the fan art, just obviously in a different medium. It's I care about your creation, I care about what it is you've done enough to ask you about it or find out more about it, or try to understand more about what you were trying to do with the character or whatever, because I like this book enough to spend my own time on it.
Yeah, I've had that a few times when going to a convention, having someone, so it's even shocking when you have someone that's like, oh, I'm not really into comics, and then they'll purchase your comic and they'll read it and they'll come back. That's what happens to me a few times. That they'll come back and ask me questions about, hey man, what's gonna happen to this character? Yo, I liked it. And you're just like, having a conversation with me, like, man, that's nice to have someone that's not even really into comics that actually is really interested in your story. Because for me personally, I think every story that I do is going to be great. But to have someone outside of your own little circle tell you that the story is good or the artwork is enjoyable or anything, it just makes you feel good. So that, to me, that's like really important to me.
So fans out there of anyone at all, make sure you say things to creators because it makes us feel happy.
Pat us on the head, say good job, go on.
Kyron's got to go real quick. Well, not real quick. He's got to go because he's got to make breakfast and be a dad and everything. So,
Right on.
All right, man. Hopefully we get to talk. You're still muted.
I'm good. They're just gonna eat Hot Pockets, so.
Oh, okay.
I could be a lazy dad right now.
Well, I haven't had a Hot Pocket in a very long time.
Hot Pocket.
I've never had a Hot Pocket. They're not.
You're not missing anything, really.
So much of a thing. Like they
If
are
you bake
obtainable.
Pocket, you're missing out. Don't put it
Well,
like it. Put it in the
I'm not.
rest and bake it. It's actually really good.
Don't they make breakfast ones now, or they still just make like the?
Yeah, they make breakfast.
Yeah.
Haven't tried it since they made the breakfast one.
This is actually sponsored by Hot Pockets.
If you actually got this to be sponsored by Hot Pockets, that means you're making it big time.
Yeah, right.
Big things, man. Big things.
Yeah, Jim Gaffigan and Hot Pockets.
That's right. Absolutely.
My character's in a Hot Pocket. Send it to him.
Jesus.
Comics and tattoos.
So going hand in hand with that, I'm covered in tattoos, like head to toe in tattoos, and I think it's funny that comes up, and it comes up a lot, right? That's not something that's, even if you're an artist that has no tattoos, I've been at shows with people that are on our team, and folks come up and they're like, "Hey, will you draw tattoos for us?" You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's like a commission thing, anything else, right? But it's different styles. You can't just walk up to an artist that doesn't do tattoos and be like, "Hey, is this going to work?" Because you got to think about dimensions. You got to think about placement. You can't just ask folks to tattoo you. Like I said, I'm covered in tattoos, and I'm not going to go up to an artist of mine and be like, "Hey, can you draw me a tattoo?" Especially not in person. You know what I mean? Because now you're like, well, where do you want it? How do you want it to fit? How's it going to look? They don't know how your skin's going to react. They don't know how, the freckles or the moles or whatever else you have on your body are going to affect what you're doing. But I love it. I think they go hand in hand like peas and carrots, to be honest with you, because of the fact that it's the creation, the aspect of what you're doing with any sort of art. You're telling a story, So yes, if you look at the listener, the first 3 issues of the listener plus Gee's journal all were done by a tattoo artist, cover art for the first cover A's for all those books. And because she's tattooed almost 80% of my body, you know what I mean? So it was like, man, look, that's really, really cool. Let's make sure we get her on there so she can show off her artwork to the world and yada, yada. But it definitely does. It's a storytelling thing. And we've been telling stories since the dawn of time. Cave people doing paintings on walls with fecal matter just to make cool stuff. You know what I mean? That's just it. Peas and carrots, man. Tattoos and comic books. Who doesn't like both? Even if you don't like getting tattoos, or you've never been tattooed, or you're scared of needles, you can still appreciate the artwork that a tattoo is. You know what I mean? So it's Matt Knowles.
You know what? It's interesting to pop into a live stream, and the very first thing you hear is cave paintings made of fecal matter is the first thing that you hear. You know it's going to be an interesting day.
Hey, man, I bring that to the table. I'm not, your normal guy. So super stoked that Matt's here, man.
Yeah.
Super stoked that Matt's here. Well, I think that the first time, one show that we did together, I had literally been a fan of Matt's. So it was like, he did I think it was a MegaCon. I want to say it was a MegaCon.
It would have been MegaCon.
I think it was a MegaCon that he was at, and I owned a comic shop, and I was literally just like perusing all these amazing indie books, and I was like, dude, this guy is all out. Like, he is for real about this series. And I think that's another form of, appreciation that we can give to these creators that we all like to hear. But super glad this man's still on the scene, because he definitely inspired me to make sure that I keep doing what I'm doing. So,
well, I appreciate that, Matt. I appreciate. For those of you who don't know, I mean, if you're watching the show, I'm Matt Knowles from Insymmetry Creations. We've got a Kickstarter going right now for Heirs of Isildur or the Perilous Prospects. It ends at 9:00 tonight. We've been having a fun time finding the backers that can help to keep the rogue guys away. We had some fun with it. We've had some fun with it for the last couple of days. The constant up and down of adjustments and all. But we're going to end the day off strong. And I really appreciate what you just said there, Dustin. That's one of the things. I know Chuck is right above me over here. One of the things I really appreciate about Chuck is that there's not a topic that Chuck is not going to find a way to talk excitedly about. And a lot of, and I mean that in the nicest way, because if you don't have excitement about what you do, how do you expect someone else to have that excitement as well? If they can't look at you and go, "Damn, this guy really believes in what he's doing," why are they going to be excited? People want to be involved in fun things and things that excite them, and you have to be able to bring that as a creator too. So that's what Steph and I try and do, and try to show people that the excitement we truly do have about the things that we do. So I appreciate that comment, Matt.
I have to kick one person so Ed can come back real quick. He's only available for like 10 more minutes, and then somebody can come back in. So, yeah.
I guess I'll do this. I could take care of my kids then.
All right. It'll just be like 10 minutes.
oh, hey, I saw that Belial cover. That new Belial cover there, Chuck.
Oh yeah, that's right. The one that Connie did.
Bro. That's real talk, man.
Well, so that was just fan art. Like, she just sent me that, and she was like, hey, I really love what you're doing, and I wanted to kind of, break out some stuff. And I was like, shit, that's actually really good. I sent it to Sean. He's like, let's see what she does with it. And it went from fan art to, hey, maybe we should offer this as a print, to, fuck, I think this is a cover.
It's super stellar. I think you guys should be really happy with it. It's a really
yeah. Thank you, homie. I appreciate that. Yeah. And that's just how it comes together. And dude, yeah, super stoked to finally have some of that shit happening. So yeah, thank you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I gotta say, I've been on a few of these lately with Matt, and I have never once seen him wear a top hat. It's very disappointing.
Well, you know what?
That's how you said it all, by the way.
Well, only reason being is just because I did a show in Clearwater yesterday, and so to make the outfit work, I had to take the goggles off of one hat and put them onto a different hat. So I'm looking over here, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to put some goggles on the top of it. But you know what? Since you said that, I'll figure out a way to make it happen.
If you didn't see that fit that he was in for Clearwater in all blue,
dude. He's able to ride this really thin line where if you change it just slightly, it would be bad prom, but where he is, it's good steampunk. I really like it. It's a very thin line, and he rides it beautifully.
I think it's the beard.
Well, the thing is, though, too, that, when Steph has the matching outfit, we're going to be at Jackson Con this weekend, where we wear the most gaudy, ridiculous-looking outfits, but we are twinning it. Then you're like, okay, there must be a reason for this. So this is intentionally being done. This guy just didn't blindly reach into his closet and pick out, grandma's 70s disco couch fabric. They actually did this on purpose. And we've had people that actually have come up to us and be like, oh man, you guys, what do you guys do? And sees the different spots in the venue and know that we are a part of the same entity. And that's actually brought them over to our table. So it's been a neat experience.
Love that. John would know better than anybody about what gets me hot and bothered, because he likes to watch my feeds and stuff. So he sees all about the dinosaurs and the bunnies and everything else I've got going on. So he definitely understands what's going on in my realm of thoughts.
Hey, everyone. I'm actually going to have to drop. I'm just about out of time, and I had that disconnect and everything. But I wanted to come back and say goodbye. Congrats again to SeerNova on 100 episodes. That's awesome. I hope to come back and talk to you guys again soon. I've got plenty of comics happening this year, so loads to talk about. But yeah, thanks everyone. And if anyone's listening, please check out Empowered Volume 2 on Kickstarter. Cheers. Thanks everyone, and have a lovely afternoon. Well,
have a good one.
Time of day it is for you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cool.
All right, there you go. I got the biggest top hat in my entire collection on my head right now.
There you go.
I think I might have it on backwards, but you know what?
We can't tell. It's cut off.
I was going to say it's great. It's so tall that like it gets cut off before it ever gets.
They go, hey guys, what's
That's
going
great.
on? This is Matt over here.
It's Mr.
You
Hat.
doing okay?
Yeah.
So
you
by
know,
the way, this top hat was made by GB Leatherworks. That's the company. If you looked at our campaign, you see there Michael's Traveler's Pouch, all the little custom Traveler's pouches. This top hat was made. They've done a lot of custom leather work for us, and that's what they're doing this campaign. But yeah, you'll see us like the goggles that are on here. They made the goggles. They just came up with a set for Steph and I that as soon as we get them, we'll wear them out live. That are completely, like you said, outrageous and gaudy. And if you just saw them by itself, you'd be like, "What are they thinking?" But then you put them on both Steph and I, you're like, "Okay, that's kind of cool." Rainbows and rainbow striped threads and stars and crap like that on the lenses and mirrored lenses. I mean, they're freaking ridiculous. But yeah, they're doing some great leather work for us on this campaign. Probably some of our favorite stuff they've ever done.
Right on.
Yeah, I know we're talking about tattoos. I went to a really interesting show one time. It was not a comic book show. It was the Nashville Tattoo and Horror Festival. And I sat up there, and I was like the only guy with comics. And they had these booths where you could get a tattoo, and it was near where the vendors were. And the best way to get somebody to come to your table is be like, "Hey, nice tattoo," you know, like especially if it's a new tattoo, and they'll be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
yeah," you know, and they'll come over and tell you all about it.
Yeah, you do that with T-shirts. You do that with shoes.
Yeah.
You can, like right now, like my big thing is I bought a pair of the Reeboks Dennis Nedry Jurassic Park kicks when they came out, and so you know it was also to advertise our products anyway. But it was fun because people will walk up and they'll be like, "Dude, look at those! They're all white, but they've got like zebra fur on the back of them and shit." You know what I mean? So people will stop and be like, "Oh man, those are really, really cool." And then you break into conversations or anything else. They came out really good stuff. They really, really did. Like one of them's got like the spit from the Dilophosaurus on it, and the other one doesn't. So there's all kinds of cool little nuances. There's like anything that was involved with Dennis Nedry in that film is on the shoes, but people dig it, you know. So you just stop people. Hey, look, man, those are really nice kicks. Or man, I used to wear Jinkos back in the day. Or you know, this is cool or that's cool, and it immediately sparks conversation. You know, and you can go into sales pitch 101 with some of this stuff. Like, hey, man, if you liked this, you'll love this. You know what I mean? It's a very I think the best part of for me coming into this industry was having owned a brick and mortar, and I knew how to pitch. I knew how to pitch indie comics. So like if someone would come in and they'd be like, "Oh man, do you have the latest Spider-Man?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's over there. But have you seen this from Image or this from Dark Horse or you know this from Antarctic Press or whatever else was out at the time?" You know what I mean? Have you seen these? And they're very different. They're original stories. It's not the same rehashed tale you've read over and over again with a different hero. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's fun. Sales are great, you know, and dealing with customers and people are a lot of fun. So, I mean, if you can't talk to people, I mean, it's not great.
Hector's here, so that's cool.
Yeah, he is.